We are going to talk about FOSS bundle, the most well-known bundle in the Symfony community. I will explain why it's not, in my opinion, the right fit for a professional project. I will explain how to implement your own user manager system. And finally, we will talk about how to choose a bundle the right way. So I'm Damien Alexander. I'm a Symfony consultant since 2008. I'm a contributor, writer, speaker. I do a lot of Elasticsearch consulting, and I love Unicode. As this is my first time public speaking in English, so I've made my slide full of text in case I'm not very understandable. My daily job is to do consulting and development for Jolly Code, a French company based in Paris. And everything started at Jolly Code on a new project, as most people do. When we start a new project, we want to bootstrap everything very quickly. So we install Symfony and we install FOSS User Bundle. Then the client wants some modification. The specification of the project tell us how to do things. We have a design, we have some stuff to customize. And obviously we have to tweak the bundle, we have to rewrite some part of it. And some weeks later we take a step back and just forget why we used the FOSS User Bundle in the first place. So 1 year ago, I had to let it go, and I wrote a blog post about that. And this conference is about the same issues that I explained in this blog post, but with more arguments. And yeah, you will see. That is the FOSS User Bundle. My German is very good too. So let's start with a bit of history about this bundle. It all started in May 2010. It was originally called Doctrine User Bundle because it was a portage of the Symfony 1 plugin, SF Doctrine Guard plugin. The first implementation was done by KNP Labs, and in December of this year, the project was moved to the Friend of Symfony organization, and it was the birth of Friend of Symfony. Back then, we had to use a Git submodule to install a bundle. Ugh. Then Symfony 2 was released in 2011, and 1 month after the release, the first version of FOSS User Bundle was released. And we had a depth file. Yeah. Today, this bundle is huge. There is more than 300 contributors, 20 releases, more than 5 million downloads. The documentation of the bundle is available on symfony.com. This bundle is also recommended in some part of the documentation. It's also the most popular bundle on knpbundles.com, and it's around 5,000 lines of code, excluding the tests and the comments. About the features, for those of you who don't know, maybe there is, this bundle provides a user entity you can use for your project. So basically, you have a new user persisted in the database. So if you use Doctrine ORM or ODM, it works. It works also with Propel, but the Propel support has been dropped from the 2.0. You have to use a new separated bundle for that. Additionally, you also have a registration form. and a profile edition form. They come with the controllers and the optional confirmation for the email address. You also have the password reset form handling and some console commands to manage the user from the command line. And that's it. FOSS User Bundle is only about that. It's only about new entities for the user, controllers and form types to manage profile registration and password reset. What is not in FOSS User Bundle is the authentication. That's part of Symfony. The authorization too, the session management, the remember me functionality, the impersonate user functionality, and the doctrine user provider. All of those are provided by Symfony. So at the moment, we have two versions of FOSS User Bundle. That's not. In fact, there was two releases in the past week, so I had to update my slide. The main version for the 1.0 branch is the 1.36. The 1.37 was released last week. This version is not compatible with Symfony 3, and it has 50K monthly downloads from Packagist. The other version is the 2.0 Alpha 3. It was released more than a year ago, and so for a year we didn't have any release for the Symfony 3 compatibility bundle. But the beta 1 was released 2 days ago, so that's it. That's a major update of FOSS User Bundle. There is a lot of BC bricks, but it works with Symfony 3. It has only 24K monthly downloads, and that's because the main version of FOSS User Bundle is the DevMaster. The DevMaster version has nearly 100K monthly downloads. That's because the 2.0 branch was not released for a long time, but there was a lot of pull requests and a lot of work done on it. But since 2 days ago, you can install the beta 1 and finally don't have DevMaster in your composer file. So thanks to XWB and stuff for those two releases and for all the great work they are doing on the bundle. But why I think you should not use it? The main issue for me is that this bundle is an implementation and not a framework to manage users. So it has some choice made in it for the greater good, to be compatible with a maximum of use case. And not everything will work for your project. And you will spend a lot of time bending the bundle, bending the implementation, extending it to make it fit your project specification. And this time is maybe not worth the quick win you get when you install the bundle. I will talk about some pain I have when I have a project with FOSS User Bundle on my work projects. Maybe you will recognize some of them. The first one is the username. The default form login for FOSS User Bundle is based on username, so it asks for a username and a password, and only that. And you can't switch it easily to email and password. But most of my projects are based on the email address. I don't ask my customers on the e-commerce website to create a username. Actually, there is not a lot of websites where a username is really needed. So in the bundle, you have both an email and a username, of course. They are both unique on the database level, so they are both valid as a identity, as an identifier for the user. But you can't really switch to email only without a bit of hack in the bundle. I know there is two user provider provided by the bundle. You can switch, so you can use the username only user provider, that's the default one, or use the username email user provider. This username email user provider, as the name tells it, allow to log in with either the username or the email, but not the email only. And there is no user provider for that. I think the username is used in FOSS user bundle because the Symfony user interface refers to username as the user identifier. The user provider interface also had a method called load user by username. I think really it should be called load user by identifier. And the identifier could be anything you want. It could be the username, the email, the ID, whatever. There is an issue for that, so it may change in the future. And at the moment, it's okay to have get username return the email address instead of the username field you could have in the database. That's what's in the official documentation. But still, with FOSS user bundle, you will not be able to switch and remove completely the username field from the database. For you guys in the back, there is a row of seats if you want to sit. So here is the steps you have to take if you want to log in with an email address in FOSS user bundle. You have to hack the set email setter in the user entity to set the email value in the username field, because the field cannot be empty. Then you have to extend the form types to remove the username field. Then you have to rewrite completely or copy and paste completely all the validation constraints from the user entity, because you can't just remove one constraint. You have to rewrite them completely. So just copy and paste everything the bundle provide. You have to switch the user provider, obviously, etc., etc. And the full instructions are linked. It's a Stack Overflow response. And we still have the username in the database, even if we never need it. Although the username email user provider is a bit hacky, inside of it you can find this method find user by user or email. And what it does really, it's checking that the username looks like an email or not. And if it does, it looks for the email field. If it does not, it looks for the username field. So some creative username will never be found. Pain number 2. The default table, the default user table is full of fields like that, fields you will not really want on your project. So obviously the username and username canonical I just talked about. On most of my projects I don't need a username. There is also email canonical. I will talk more about the canonical version later on the talk. Then there is the salt. Salt is a field we needed back in time when we were hashing the passwords with a generated salt for each user. We don't need that anymore since we use bcrypt. So we don't have to store the salt in a separated field. Then there is a field called last login. I have no idea why this field is in the user entity. It's not used by FOSS user bundle in any way, but still it's going to do an update on each login on your project. That means you can't use a read-only database with FOSS user bundle. And this listener, which is doing the last login update on each login, can't be disabled. I could also talk about the roles field, which is a DC2 type array, which means it's an array, a PHP array serialized, so there is no interoperability. If I want to update this field with something which is not PHP, it could be JSON array. Doctrine provides this type too, which means the array is just encoded in JSON. There is more. There is also a locked file field, an expiry at, credential expiry at too. Those fields are here because the advanced user interface is implemented by default. So the user you get when you install FOSS user bundle does have all of those fields, all of those methods from the advanced user interface. I think it should be optional because I never had to use an expiring credentials on my project, but it's by default on the bundle. The two fields I strike have been removed from the new beta release from the 2.0. Then I want to talk about wording and templates. Obviously, when you install such a bundle, you know you are going to tweak the implementation of the templates. You can't just use that, obviously, but that's no surprise. You know you are going to do that. So that's the registration form by default. And all you have to do is create a new layout in your own application, in your own resource directory. And you have to implement a FOSS user content block in it. You don't forget the flash messages. If you do, you will never have the confirmation messages from the registration, the profile editing, and everything. And most of the time, this layout is only about calling your own layout and implementing the block of FOSS user in it. So it's just a layer of compatibility between your application and the FOSS user bundle views. And then you have a beautiful registration form. So you register on the website, everything is fine. There is validation and everything. And then the message which is displayed to you is that the user has been created successfully. I'm sorry, but my product owner will not allow this on the website. That's not something you do. You tell to a new customer on your e-commerce website, for example. It sounds like a robot talking to me. It's more for a backend than for the front end. So yeah, you will have to rewrite some of the texts the bundle provides. There is two sides of it. The wording in FOSS user bundle is very good because you have like 40 languages supported by default, thanks to awesome contributors around the world. And all the messages are provided. All the validation messages, all the form labels, all the emails. Everything is there. But it's kind of bad because you still have some work to do to make those messages more personal and more nice. Thanks to Symfony, you don't have to copy and paste the whole translation files to your project. You can just extend the bundle ones. So you just have to rewrite the messages you want to extend. But you still have some work to do. If your website is in 40 languages, obviously you have to do that 40 times. About the emails too, they are done in Twig files, and there is a mailer interface provided by the bundle. The mailer provided use Twig blocks to get the subject, to get the text part, and the HTML part of the email. The HTML part of it is not provided, obviously. So you just have plain text email by default. And so you also have some templates to write to have beautiful emails from the bundle, obviously. What I do most of the time is that I don't use the FOSS user bundle mailer. I just do my own mailer implementation of the interface to bridge between FOSS user bundle and my own mailer, my own applicative mailer. Because I don't use Twig all the time, for example. Pain number 4, about extendability. Adding a new field to user entity is kind of easy because the entity is in your project. You just extend the FOSS user bundle one, so you can add a new field, like the birth date. You can add validation on it if you don't forget the two groups. And that's it. But then you have to update the form types too. And to do that, you have to create them in your own project. You have to create new form types with the FOSS user bundle ones as parent. And you have to register those new form types in the configuration of the bundle for both of them. Then you took a step back and you look at your project, and it's kind of a mess. There is files everywhere, extending, building on top of the file bundle. You have new translation file, you have new form types, you have new manager for the emails, you have templates for everything. Inside the FOSS user bundle directory you didn't choose. And there is so much file to overwrite to have the proper full workflow. Why not write them from the start on your own? So that my point is, if you have so much file to write to make the bundle do what you want, just write them from the start without the bundle. And you win a huge technical debt. A 5,000 line of code dependencies you don't need anymore. Some bonus pain. What if you want to have two entities for different type of users, like one entity is for the customer and one entity for the admins, because they don't have the same fields. The admin can't have an order or an address book, for example. You can do that with FOSS user bundle. But you can install PugX multi-user bundle, which is a bundle extending FOSS user bundle. Do that at your own risk. This is not a recommendation. Simpler pain. What if you want just separated login forms? You know, you have everyone in the same entity, the admins, the customers, the moderators, everything. But still, you want to have a nice login forms for the customer on the e-commerce website, and an ugly login form for the admins on the backend side. You can do that with FOSS user bundle. You will have to write custom rules for everything. You will have to write a new firewall entry, a new security controller extending the bundle one. Inside of it, you will have to do some crappy condition on the root to tell if you want the admin layout or the customer layout, and of course the new templates. So yeah, I think you get it. I don't recommend you use it on professional projects because it's hard to adapt. There is a lot of file to write. Although it's kind of hardly maintained, maybe not anymore because last week was very active in the repository. But for more than a year, we didn't have any release. Everyone is relying on the dev master version at the moment. Also, it makes visible your usage of Symfony plus Force User Bundle. You can just craft a Google search with the specific path and the specific wording, and you have it. That may be a security concern for you, or not. But we need this bundle a lot in the Symfony community. Symfony security is very hard to learn. Building a form login where you are a newcomer in the community, you are a new developer on Symfony, you just discovered the whole thing. You can just expect those users to know how to build registration forms, user manager, controllers for everything. This bundle allows the new developers to have like their first bundle wow effect. They just install it first thing, they copy and paste the documentation, and it works. So I think for that, it's still a great piece of software, and we still need it in the community for easier learning curve on the Symfony project. Although this is the most used third-party bundle in the community, and like I said, it's an entry point for a lot of new users. A lot of tutorials, a lot of documentation refer to this bundle as the way to go when you need to install a user entity on your project. So maybe we should help. We should do better for the Symfony community. Even if we don't use the bundle anymore, which you should not, we still need to help, and that's what I want to do. Yeah, it's hardly maintained also because all those newcomers, all those new users from the Symfony project, they ask questions about the Symfony security inside Force User Bundle repository. Like this one, the user is asking why the app.user variable is not available everywhere in Twig. Because it is not in a firewall everywhere, that's it. But it's not a Force User question, it's a Symfony security question. And there is a lot of them in the repository. Just looking at the first page, you can see a lot of crappy issue, out of topic, resolved, others pushing the contributors to release a new version, question about email going to spam. That's a mess. I think this bundle is a bit slowed down by its own popularity. The fact that a lot of users can't really do the distinction between what is in Symfony and what the bundle provide. That's not helping. So there is a lot of issues not related to the bundle on the repository. At the moment, I think we have like 200 open issues which are not classified. There is no strong label management on the issues, and that's a big issue too. because when you are a maintainer of this bundle, you just go to the issue tab, all of it is white, so you don't know what is a bug, what is a question, you have to reread everything all the time. We can improve that. So there is a hack day on Saturday, and you see where I'm going with that. Let's try to join together and help the bundle the most we can. And I want to help, even if I don't use this bundle anymore. So, let's talk about building our own user manager, because we don't need FOSS user bundle anymore, but we still need some user entity in your project. So this solution will be perfect. No extra fields, your own entity from the start, your own mailer from the start, some 100% flexibility, but just a little bit of code to write. About that, in the Laravel framework, they don't have a FOSS user bundle. They just have a command line script to generate the basics for a user entity, and you just commit the file you want. You can customize everything. It's not a dependency. It's like writing the code for you, and you just then use what you want in it and remove everything else. I think it's kind of cool. So how to create the user entity? There is a cookbook for that. So just read the documentation. You create a user entity, you implement the user interface from Symfony, and that's it. That's basic Doctrine code. And all of the security part of it, so the user provider, is already part of Symfony. There is a Doctrine user provider. How to write the registration form? There is a cookbook for that. You have to create a new form, obviously, to handle the form submission in a controller, to persist the user, and write a template. That's basic Symfony development too. And then everything is like that. It's just controllers, forms, and basic Doctrine management. You will just have some decision to make based on your specification, on your project needs, and some technical decision to make too. You can copy and paste some code from FOSS user bundle, obviously, but not everything. Not the username and email user provider, for instance. One of the questions you could ask yourself is, do I need canonical fields? In FOSS user bundle, the username and the email fields have a canonical version. This canonical version is only the lowercase version of the field, of the parent field. This allows to make sure you don't have two users with the same email, but with a different case. Do you know what an SQL collection is for? An SQL collection tells the SGBD how to sort the data, how to sort textual fields. So it makes sure the lowercase r is not before the uppercase a, and the uppercase z is not before the lowercase a, which would not be the case in a binary sorting order. With a proper collation, all of those are strictly equal. So I think you get it. You don't really need a collation, a canonical field, if you have a proper collation on your table, which you do because you use Doctrine, and Doctrine adds them for you. So with the UTF-8 general CI collation, I can compare those two email addresses, and the result is 1. The CI at the end of the collation means the case insensitive. It also works for unique index using InnoDB. So the unique index you add on the emails and username field, if you want one, can benefit from the collation comparison. So you will never be able to insert two emails with different cases and even different directories, like one with accentuated letter and one without it. So you don't need canonical fields on your own user entity. Let's finish with how to choose a bundle the right way. So where to look when you need a bundle? There was a website called SymphoHub. It's dead today. One of the best places on the internet to find bundles is knpbundles.com. It's a huge website with a popularity score for each bundle. First user bundle is the top one. It's okay, but it's not very up to date. I have the feeling that there is no strong watching of all the bundles in it, because my own bundles are not updated anymore. And finally, we have packagist.org, obviously, which is, in my opinion, the best source to find a bundle, because you can just add type Symfony bundle on the URL, and voila, you only have Symfony bundles on the result. It works that way. If you need something on your project, like jQuery, so you search for jQuery on Packagist, and you can just add type Symfony bundle, and you only have jQuery bundles. Yeah. Don't use a Composer to install jQuery. So when you found your perfect bundle, like this one, which is replacing the little ghost in the Symfony exception pages with an animated GIF, you have to look at some stuff in the Packagist page. So first of all, is there more than one maintainer? You don't want a bundle which is maintained by only one person. We don't know what can happen. That's called the bus factor. Then you can see the popularity of the bundle, how much time it has been installed, is there a lot of issues, is there a lot of forks and everything. Then you can see the release. Just check that the last release is not too old. A bundle which has not been released in more than a year is probably not tested with the latest Symfony version. Then you see all the requirements, all the requires. Check obviously that they fit your project needs, but check also the dependencies of the dependencies. There might be some hidden stuff, some dev master or I don't know. And finally, check the license. It has to be in concordance with the project license you are building. You also have to check the tests. Check there is tests on the bundle and that they are green, obviously. And yeah, there is more than 8,000 bundles to choose from. A lot of them have 0 installation. That's weird. Never install a bundle you do not trust 100% because you will. It's very hard to remove a bundle. It's very easy to add one, but to remove one is a lot of work. So check that there is a full documentation. Check what it does. Read the code if you can. If it's not too big. Look at the issue tracker for long pending issues. For example, in FOSS user bundle, the issue about the username field, it's there since the beginning of time. Check also that the bundle you want to install adds a real feature to Symfony. Sometimes bundles are just wrapper around a perfectly fine library. And obviously the library will move faster than the bundle which implements it on your Symfony project. And then you will be a little bit limited by the bundle implementation. You will not be able to update the library because the bundle is not up to date. And then you are just slowing down your own development. In some cases, it's worse, like FOSS Elastica bundle. They had a strict configuration on top of Elasticsearch mapping, but Elasticsearch move very fast, and you are often limited by the FOSS Elastica bundle, and you can't use Elasticsearch fully because the bundle is not up to date. Last warning about the implementation bundle. FOSS user bundle is an implementation bundle. It's not a framework. So you will have to deal with it, and if it does not fit your project specification fully, it will be a pain. You don't want a 5,000 line of code project inside of your application, just to use 2 controllers. So keep your number of third-party bundles low, as much as possible. Prefer library over bundles, and stay awesome. Small wrap-up. Yeah, there is a taco emoji. FOSS user bundle is a great tool, but it's an opinionated implementation. I think you should not be using it on professional projects, but maybe you can because it fits your needs, so just do it. Just be aware that every bundle you install makes the maintenance of your project harder. Join me on Saturday on the Hack Day to help this bundle too. Building your own user manager, building your own entities is very easy, so just go for it. Maybe we can write another cookbook for that also. And third-party bundles are good for quick win, but they make your project harder on the long run. You have to think about the long-term engagement a new bundle add to your project. Finally, a big thanks to more than 300 contributors to FOSS user bundle. This talk is not about bashing them, so just a round of applause for them, please. And that's it. Thank you.